Get ready as Excite Wrestling presents Fight Club at the American Legion Post 80 on 76 Main Street in Binghamton, New York. Featuring unprofessional Jimmy Jacobs versus Joe Gacy. Also, Joey Ryan versus Dick Justice. And for the Excite Championship, Sean Carr will be facing Austin Aries. Get your tickets today at excitewrestling.com/shop or catch it live on twitch.tv/excitewrestling.
Today's episode is brought to you by Gamefly. And for listeners of the show, Gamefly is offering an exclusive 30-day free trial that's one game out. And all you have to do to take advantage of this awesome offer is go to gameflyoffer.com/gimmick. Again, that's gameflyoffer.com/gimmick. Let's get to the show.
This podcast is scheduled for one fall.
Whoa, who let you out of the basement? Let me do this. This podcast is scheduled for one fall, and I'm still not reading any of this other crap you wrote, so just click your buttons and start the show.
Welcome all to the Gimmick Table. Thank you for listening. I'm your host, Matt. And people, much like a riddle, wrapped in a mystery, inside an enigma, please welcome my lovely, lovely co-host. He is the Snarf to my Lionel. Say hello to Bats. How goes it today, sir?
It's not going bad. How's it going with you, Snarf?
Well, as you serve as my nursemaid and protector, you do a very bad job and a horrible impression of Snarf.
That was bad.
That was terrible. That was terrible.
I'm not even going to try it again because I know I can't do it.
We're just going to move forward. We're going to have a lot of fun today, guys, because we actually, in a few minutes, are going to be joined by the Phoenix Kid, and we're going to get an opportunity to talk about wrestling in Alaska, which is something we know nothing about. So stick around for that, because that's why you should be here in the first place. But remember, everyone, you can get all our great content at gimmicktablepod.com or on iTunes. Make sure you subscribe there. And our December contest is still going. Keep in mind, we got another way for you to win this week with our third keyword of the month for another entry for your chance to win an autographed 8x10 photograph of Cody Rhodes. Make sure after the show you go to gimmicktablepod.com and fill out the entry form. Make sure you also do that for our last two episodes, episodes 22 and 23, if you have not listened to those yet. And check out all the bonus ways you can enter the contest as well. Not going to want to miss that. Just want to give you another reminder about the Making Towns Classic as their front row package deal where you get entrance to both shows for $45 is only going through till January 2nd. But keep in mind that these packages are limited, so you're going to want to take advantage of them as soon as possible. You're going to get, like I said before, entry into both shows. That's going to be on May 12th, 2018. First show is at 3 p.m., second show is at 7:30 p.m., both taking place at the Nashville Fairgrounds. And if you want to take advantage of this awesome offer before tickets are gone, make sure you purchase them through PayPal at MikeHales57@gmail. And if you have any questions for them, make sure you contact them on Facebook by searching the Making Towns Classic or on Twitter at the MT Classic. And keep up to date with them on social media as they announce the remaining 12 participants of this awesome tournament. And it's that time of the show, Bats, that we welcome our guest. So please, everybody, join us in welcoming to the Gimmick Table. He is the Phoenix Kid. How goes it today?
It goes well.
That's good to hear. We do apologize for the technical difficulties that we had a little earlier with Google Hangouts. Who knew for once my co-host would be right about something?
Hey, it happens every once in a while. Bro Croc's right twice a day, right?
Exactly.
Well, that's fine with me.
And I have never met more of a broke clock in my life.
Yes.
Well, I don't have anything to say to that.
Wow. His wit must be broken today, too, as well. Thank you for joining us. We haven't had somebody from the West Coast on the show for, seems like it's been a couple of months now. So it's good to get somebody from that area back on the show.
West Coast, best coast. That's what they say, right?
I always felt that East Coast rap was a little bit better than West Coast rap.
East Coast, Beast Coast.
There we go.
Okay. Yeah, on what planet?
On the planet where you're 3,000 miles away and can't beat us up. This planet.
It's all about nonviolence today.
Well, you could put us in headlocks and make us pretty much say
all
that.
About nonviolence coming from a wrestler.
The most passive wrestler of all time.
Yes, I'll be the second most awesome. Tectonic's pretty cool.
He just throws up a peace sign in the middle of the ring. They fall over. He pins them.
I'm going to start doing that now. Let's see what happens.
I don't think that's going to get over. It might.
You'd be surprised.
Now, you are currently on the West Coast, but originally you're from Texas, but you actually started wrestling out in Alaska. So how did you end up out there?
The military. That's how I ended up out there. Long story short, I spent 4 years in the National Guard, decided that wasn't good enough, and decided to come active duty. And long story short, after a bunch of schools and whatnot, I ended up in Alaska, and opportunity to start wrestling just kind of happened. So here we are, 3 years later.
What is the Alaskan wrestling scene? Because you are our first real contact to that world. What is that scene like?
It's a small scene, but we all kind of come from the same, I guess lineages would be the correct word for it. We all pretty much all wrestle each other. We all train together, so it's a little different. We all know each other, so it makes the matches a little different, but at the same time, it's like you want to get anywhere, you got to get out of there.
Yeah, because, I mean, you're completely separated from the rest of the continental U.S.
Exactly. And it makes traveling to the lower 48 pretty tricky. While I was up there, I was probably in the last year the guy who traveled the most. Yeah, I can safely say I'm the guy who traveled the most. Let's be completely real about it. But yeah, it was crazy those first really 2 years when I actually started getting on shows and different things like that. It was pretty crazy, actually. I'm actually coming up on my second year here in March, now that I think about it. So it's been a roller coaster.
Now, how would you say being in the military kind of meshes with your wrestling career?
It absolutely doesn't. It's contradicted. Like there's so much red tape I have to go through to actually be able to wrestle on shows, and so it's kind of where normal people would book out like maybe 3 to 6 months and know their schedule and different things. It's a challenge for me to be able to book out and be like, hey, I'm going to be here, or I'm going to be here, because that can change at a moment's notice.
So you really have to book more closer to the actual time of when an event would be, opposed to where you can plan out your whole year or something like that.
Exactly. And it makes, not only that, it makes traveling to different places tricky, because then there's the paperwork I have to fill out to be able to leave and different things like that. So unfortunately, I've missed several opportunities attempting because of the Army and its shenanigans, but I feel like it's meant to if it's meant to happen, it's going to happen.
Hey, well, I mean, your priorities are serving the country, and we totally appreciate that.
It helps in the long run. I mean, it pays, gets the bills paid, so.
Yeah, you still got to do something, and I mean, you're making a career for yourself. If wrestling doesn't, work out for you, you do have something to fall back on.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's actually interesting because I'm almost out of the military at this point. I've probably got maybe a little over a year left in service, and then it's a wrap for me, and then it's on to the next thing. So
you're gonna hopefully we're gonna be able to see you wrestle more. Is that what the goal is once you are completed with the military?
That's 100% the goal. That's actually a big factor into why I'm getting out. Military has been great. I recommend if anybody wants to do it, do it. If not, that's cool too. Do you? Not endorsing the military or anything like that. Not a billboard for them. But if you want to wrestle, probably not the best idea.
Yeah, so that's a good thing to mention. What do people think when you got commanding officers and things like that? What do they think when you tell them that you're a professional wrestler?
That's funny you ask, because in my unit in Alaska, when people found out that I wrestled, first people didn't believe me, and then once I started showing them pictures and videos, they were all about it. A lot of the guys were like, oh well, I don't want to go see that, but that's cool that you do that. But anytime I'd share a video with somebody, next thing you know, it's all over the company. So 200-300 dudes already have seen the video and know about it, or asking me things about it. Another cool thing, I actually worked for some pretty high-ranking people as I was leaving Alaska, and they were all about it. They totally supported it 110%. But now that I'm at a new unit, not too many people, maybe 1 or 2 people know that I wrestle, and so it hasn't really come out yet, so we'll find out here in about a month or two what they really think about it.
I'm sure they'll be receptive.
That's the crazy thing. You don't really know. I had a buddy that wrestled that was also in a different unit, and they were not receptive of it at all. They did not like it, so it's going to be an interesting find once they figure it out.
Well, hopefully they have, a passion for wrestling and enjoy it, so it'll be easy for you and you won't have to deal with any ridicule for doing something that's fucking awesome regardless of what anybody else thinks.
Oh, yeah. And as far as I'm concerned, if they ridicule, they can ridicule all they want. They can't lace my boots at the end of the day, so they can suck it.
Now you're in Tacoma, so you have moved to the continental U.S. What's the differences you've experienced with the wrestling scene here?
So one of the key things for me that I noticed just coming from Alaska down to Washington, Oregon. In Alaska, I had the reputation of being the quote-unquote stiff guy, so blast people, and it wasn't even intentionally. I would just blast people just because that's how I like to work. Down here, I'm not the stiff guy. I'm actually the guy getting blasted half the time. It's like, oh, anybody who can complain, they thought I was too rough. Oh, they need to come down here for a minute and see what's up. I'm getting hit 10 times harder than I've ever hit somebody, but I enjoy it.
Now, have you got the opportunity to get in the ring with Tech?
No, I haven't actually, but hopefully we'll be able to make that happen. I've shared the locker room with him a few times though, so we've kind of been back and forth a couple of times on Twitter and in the locker room. So much respect for him, but at the same time, I kind of want to elbow his face in.
Well, if you can do that and prevent him from putting me through a table, we can be the best of friends.
Or you could team up with him and help him put Matt through a table.
I'd probably be the one helping him or egging him on at least.
That's what I like to hear.
But here's the thing about it. See, we have a rewind show now, so if I'm dead from going through a table, Bats can't do his own show. He doesn't have the mental capacity to handle all this.
I'll figure it out.
I'll help him out. I got it.
Oh,
I got
wow.
it covered.
Everybody, the host is in a corner here, so we're just going to move on here because I'm not gaining any ground. I'm putting on my white flag and retreating. All right, but let's flip the switch a little bit and go back to when you were first introduced to wrestling. He doesn't like my let's flip the switch. He's laughing at me.
You hear these segues, man, right?
I make them as corny as possible.
Let's flip the switch and talk about what we're already talking about.
No, we're talking about when he first was introduced to wrestling, dude. All right, I'm going to start making the most corny segues ever. I'm just going to continue it.
You don't even have to try. You just do it.
These segues are horrible.
Hey, nobody's on my side.
I appreciate the effort, though. I mean, I'm all about it. The effort's great, but the segues are horrible.
E for effort.
E for effort? Thanks.
Right.
I appreciate
A for effort.
All right, but when were you first introduced to pro wrestling in your life?
Good question. I have no idea. I assume it was when I was like 3 or 4, because my dad was totally into it. And it's pretty much my first memories of anything revolve around wrestling. So we just all safely assume I've been around it my whole life. So there we go with that.
Now, was there the connection to it just because of your father's love for it, or was there a specific reason why you personally connected to wrestling and have continued to connect with it?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you why I still watch it. Like, it's just something that I've always liked and I've enjoyed it. Most people go through that time period where they stop watching it because of girls and sports and whatever. I never went through that time period. Like, I've watched wrestling through some of the best and worst times of wrestling. So it's always been cool to me just to be like, yeah, I never stop. I'm that guy.
So it almost just seems it's just there. There's no real rhyme or reason behind it. You just connect with it instinctively almost.
Exactly.
Something that brings you joy to a point that it's even brought you to the point where you want to step in the ring and do it.
Exactly. And I do it quite frequently now, and it's crazy.
Now, was there a moment when you said, okay, I want to be more than a fan and actually do this?
That's always been the life goal for me, actually. I remember being still in like junior high and high school being like, I'm going to be a wrestler, and getting laughed at because I'm 110 pounds saying I'm going to be a wrestler. But yeah, so it's always been the goal. There's never really been I want to be this and not a wrestler. It's always been I want to be this and a wrestler at the same time because I'll figure it out.
That's a good attitude to have, and you never gave up. That's awesome. We've had the opportunity to have a couple people like Bats' friend, George. We had on the show a long time ago, back when we first started. It feels like a long time
ago.
Ages. Back in our infancy stages. But no, same thing. Just Bat's gonna attest to this. A girl going through high school. That's all he talked about was, hey, I'm gonna be a pro wrestler, and I think it's cool no matter what it is when somebody goes out there and still has that childhood dream and ambition inside them, because it's not just for financial reasons. There's a true love there that can't be explained to anybody else for them, and to have them fully understand it the way that the person who has it can. Yeah.
Right. Like,
Exactly.
well, like, obviously you have like a true passion for it because, you're up in Alaska and you sought out a wrestling program.
Which, by the way, was not easy.
I imagine.
Yeah, so go through that for us. How
do you find that?
How do you find wrestling in a school in Alaska, of all places?
This was honestly, it was a lot of luck, because originally I was supposed to be stationed in North Carolina, where I was going to start wrestling. Easy enough to find there. It's all over the place there. It's East Coast. But found I was getting the orders to Alaska, and just kind of hopped on Google. Like, okay, well, let's Google search this and see if we can find something. Maybe I'll find something. Maybe I won't. Ended up finding some stories about an old promotion where the owner was doing shady stuff. You can Google it. It's pretty easy to find out. I was like, okay, well, this seems sketchy. Then I just kind of kept looking. Eventually, I stumbled upon another promotion that was kind of new, but kind of going. And I just kind of reached out to them through Facebook, and the rest is history.
All right, and so you end up there, your first day of training. Take us through that. What's going through your mind when you finish your first day there?
Oh, from the start, I was a little weirded out just because of kind of the circumstances of how we all ended up meeting. But once I got to the school and I seen the ring, I'm just like, oh, this is actually happening. I'm about to get in there and learn some stuff, and we're gonna find out if this is really what I want to do. By the end of it, it was just like, yes, this is 110% what I want to do. I hurt so bad, but this is really what I want to do. And it was funny. A lot of the guys were just like, oh, so are you coming back tomorrow? And of course, like every other person, I'm like, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. And their response was, we'll see. And the next day I was there.
Yeah, you said circumstances, how you were weirded out by circumstances, how you met them?
Oh, yes. So I'll go ahead and tell the story. I was trying to avoid that one.
Oh, no, you can't.
We definitely want to hear that.
No, it's pretty good, actually. So I ended up calling the trainer, ended up getting the trainer's number, ended up calling him. We talked for about maybe 30 minutes about just different things about the program. He's like, okay, cool. Well, we meet at Walmart every weekend to go train. So we'll meet at Walmart, and then we have a 45-minute drive to go to the training spot. Okay. So I'm pretty new to Alaska at this point. I've maybe been there maybe about a month, give or take. So I don't know where I'm at. So I'm just like, okay, I'm going to go to this Walmart and meet some people I've never met, and hopefully I don't die. So I ended up meeting them, and I'm like waiting outside the parking lot like a weirdo with my gym bag. I don't know who I'm looking for or what kind of vehicle I'm looking for. I just know I'm looking for some people. So I'm standing there waiting. All of a sudden, a van pulls up. And you see this random guy, and we kind of make eye contact, and he kind of gives me that nod, like, I think I found you. And I give him the nod back, like, yeah, I'm the person you're looking for. So he comes out, we shake hands or whatever, and I'm just, the whole 45 minutes, I'm just like, man, if I get messed up in this, I'm going to have a lot of explaining to do, and I'm not going to be able to explain it, and my commander is not going to like this. But everything came out good, so it's all great.
I mean, yeah, he gave you that nod that said, hey, get in my van.
Pretty much. It was really weird. It was pretty much like I was one of those weird, crazy horror movies.
Now, were you worried you were going to have to do some training like Revenant style, like have to wrestle some bears or something out in the backcountry?
I wasn't sure what to expect.
So you're also lucky that they didn't, chop you up into 1,000 little pieces and make you into like a stew and put it on the dark.
You know what? For wrestling, it would have been worth it.
That would have been a very good gimmick, though.
Oh, no.
I don't
Terrible
think
gimmick.
That wouldn't have gotten over.
I'm sure that would have made a great movie, though.
Yeah, but it'd be really sad if it was based on true events.
Yeah, well, stuff happens, man.
There's some weird people out there.
Oh no, that's an understatement.
Yeah, I imagine in Alaska, that's like they go there to get away from the rest of the non-weird people.
They're just as weird as the not weird people. They're strange as strange can be.
We'll have to take a trip up there, Bats, and check it out.
I don't know about that.
It's not worth it.
It's not? What about when it's, daylight for, 30 days?
And it's
Okay, so that's kind of not right.
Kind of not right? Okay, yeah, let's break down this myth.
Okay, so I was in Anchorage, which is kind of on the coast, but not really. But it's further south in Alaska. So in Anchorage, in the winter, you get like 18 hours of night where it'll be, the sun will go down it'll come up like at 10 in the morning and it'll go down like at 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Then in the summer it's reversed. So the sun doesn't go down until like 1 in the morning, and then it'll pop back up about 3 in the morning, and that's daylight. So I mean, it's not completely like, 30 days is dark and all that. Further up north it gets a little more sketchy, but overall that's kind of the gist of it.
Yeah, but I feel like even what you said, from the sun goes down in the summer from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m.?
To maybe about 3 a.m.
So for 2 hours, there's only 2 hours of darkness?
Dude,
exactly. It will mess you up.
Yeah, but Matt, that's like your dream as a vegan. Like, you could grow the best garden.
Maybe.
I don't need 22 hours of sunlight. There's enough artificial sunlight I can create.
You could just make giant potatoes and giant...
Why are you being so
tomatoes.
pro-vegan right now? I don't like this.
I just want you to move to Alaska.
Well, fine, I'll move to Alaska. All right.
Eaten by a bear. Or a pack of wolves.
Whatever. No, I'll friend them. I will friend them. I will become part of the pack, dude.
One of us.
I will become pack leader.
I don't know how that's going to work out as a vegan.
Well, once
sure,
I go full wolf, I'm
when
no
you
longer...
try and convert your wolf friends to
There's
vegans,
stuff
I wonder how
around.
they'll feel.
Hey guys, I made this really nice eggplant lasagna. You want to try it? No, if I go full wolf, I'm going to have to eat meat again, obviously. I'm no longer a human
wolf.
being.
Yeah, I don't think the rest of the pack is going to appreciate that, though.
Well, I mean, as long as you don't turn your back on a wolf pack, you won't end up in the body bag, right?
Exactly.
That's not how the wolf pack is supposed to work.
That's exactly how
No.
the wolf pack...
They're supposed to have your back.
The wolf pack's supposed to cause mass destruction.
Different wolf pack, man. I'm going to be a real wolf.
I don't know. Apparently, they're the bad boys of wrestling, but I haven't seen a wolf wrestle, so I don't know.
I feel like if I was a wrestler and they're like, your opponent tonight is a wolf, I'm gonna go like, I'm gonna retire right now.
Right. I'm just gonna pull out a red and black T-shirt and start dancing around.
Oh, that chick on Glow. She's the wolf lady.
Yeah. See, I'd pull out a red and black shirt and start dancing around.
I feel like the wolf would just attack you though.
Oh no, that's not how that's gonna work.
No. How do you fight a wolf?
You tape your hands up and put crushed glass on them and fist fight them. That's the Gray. That's what Liam Neeson did. I trust his fighting style.
Doesn't he die in that movie?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah.
Or they allude.
Spoiler alert.
From a movie.
He doesn't beat all the wolves.
Oh wow.
Way to go! You ruined a movie from like 5 years ago. How dare you?
Shocker.
Oh, I feel like if you haven't seen it by now, then you're not gonna watch it.
Getting back to the wrestling, how was that segue for you? Getting back to the wrestling. Early on, who were
Right.
some of the people that were kind of instrumental to your career to get you on the right track, especially being in Alaska?
I have to actually think about this. That's a good question. First starting out, my trainer, JT West, was kind of the influence on my career. Then once I started actually getting on shows and different things like that, there's so many people that started influencing the things I did and the way I operated. I'm scared to start naming people because I know I'm going to forget people. But just to throw a couple people out there that have really been influential in the last 6 months when I've really been getting out there. Jeff Cannonball, a guy I talk to on Twitter quite a bit, has been a huge influence in my progression. Another guy from the East Coast, G-Raver, another guy who's been a huge influence on different things and giving me different ideas and how to approach different matches. As far as being localized, JD Mason's been a huge help. The whole crew from Combat Pro Wrestling has been another huge help. There's so many other people that I know I'm forgetting, and somebody's going to stab me when they hear this. But if you've helped me out, you know who you are. So, just go with that.
That's an all-inclusive thank you. Anybody who's ever helped you. Now, how long do you go between the start of your training to your debut match?
Depending on how you define debut match. Let's see. From the start of my training to the first enhancement match I did was 6 months. Then I went about another 6 months before I had another enhancement match, and then I finally became the Phoenix Kid about a year in the training. Yeah, that sounds right. All these dates start to mesh together.
So let's kind of go from there. When was your debut as the Phoenix Kid?
So my debut as the Phoenix Kid was March of 2016 against Jack Windsor. It was a really interesting process of how that actually became, because there was other talks of different ideas of who I would become. And the Phoenix Kid is actually something I created with another buddy of mine my sophomore year of high school. And I really wanted that to be the name that I chose and went with, because it was something I wanted to be for that long. So I had to really create this character that was believable, but at the same time I could convince my trainer that, look, this is something that would sell and this is something I could really do. So it took a couple months for that to finally happen, but when it did happen, there was no looking back.
So what, as you're about to make your debut as the Phoenix Kid, what's going through your mind?
I hope I don't screw this up. That was literally it. You get really nervous going through the curtains because you don't really know what you're going to do or how people are going to react to you. And you're going against a guy who's already been established in the company. So it's like, wow, this is about to happen. If I don't have another match, I pretty much made my dream come true. And the fans are really receptive to what I did. It's the Phoenix Kid that happened 2 years ago, the far cry away from the Phoenix Kids you see now, minus the mask, which I actually still have that mask in my bag for my debut match. But it took a lot of quote unquote evolving over the last year, almost 2 years really, to really get the Phoenix Kid into what it is today.
Well, let's go ahead and elaborate on that then. Who is the Phoenix Kid?
The Phoenix Kid is basically your when you take anime and punk rock and just all these elements of counterculture and mesh it into one thing, and that's me. I'm not what the quote unquote stereotypical African American should be. I'm not the guy who wrestles the standard way where, work a hold and work a leg or do this or do that. I do what I want to do, and I act how I want to act. If I want to come out and dance, I'm going to dance. If I want to come out and gyrate, I'm going to gyrate, not because, quote unquote, oh, that's what my character is supposed to do. I'm doing what I want to do, and that's what the Phoenix Kid's all about.
All right, can't argue with that. Now, as a cruiserweight, who are some of the wrestlers from both past and present that you kind of draw inspiration from for your own style?
Shawn Michaels, of course, like every small guy wants to be. But from the cruiserweight side, Jushin Liger was a big influence. Koji Kamemoto is another big influence on how I wrestle. The Great Muta is another guy, even though not being a cruiserweight, is another guy that I'd look at and be like, okay, well, I can take this and make this mine, or take that and make that mine. Just in general, a lot of the quote unquote shoot fighter guys that you see that can have that shoot style, but also can work a wrestling match, are a lot of guys I look at.
Now, with that said, how do you constantly evolve your own style? And like you said, the Phoenix Kid that you started as, in comparison to the Phoenix Kid of today, two different people almost. How do you continue to evolve, and how did you come to the point that you're at now?
I know when I first started, people that were helping me develop wanted me to be the standard cruiserweight, doing the high cross bodies and the arm drags and just the standard little guy moves, and that be me. But coming from a submission grappling background, although it be a small one, I still have that tutelage under my belt. I started implying different submissions in training, different grappling techniques. I started really lately. I've really been employing the German suplex with the bridge. I've actually picked up quite a few victories with that as of late. And it really just came down to me doing what I wanted to do. So I wanted to be kind of like the submission guy and the hard hitting guy that could be a cruiserweight still and fly around if I needed to. But realistically, I didn't have to.
Showing that there's more than, one dimension to the smaller guys, that they don't just have to take the high spots, that they can compete, be technically sound, can fight and punches just as hard as the big guys.
Exactly. And that's been a big thing for me lately, is that I've been getting into brawls with people just because I can, and I know I can. So I've been getting into either these crazy stipulation matches where, ladders or something's involved, but I'm not jumping off the ladder. I'm just going to chunk a ladder at you because that's just as effective. Or I'm just getting into brawls just because I want to get into a brawl with somebody.
Right, and if you throw the ladder at somebody, it's a lot less pain on your body if you're jumping off it and hitting them with your body.
Exactly. Doesn't mean I won't hit you with my body, but it's just one more tool in the toolbox, and I don't have to do a 450 with a corkscrew and a this and a that to make an impact.
Exactly. Now, does the Phoenix Kid, is he more of a heel or is he a face?
I'd say more of a face, honestly. My character is really directed towards the kids and directed towards people that just want to have fun. But in that same token, people understand if you get under the Phoenix Kid's skin, you're not going to see a nice, happy-go-lucky guy.
All right, now you mentioned the kids. Now, how do you connect with the fans? How do you get over with them?
I think I'm trying to eat Chinese at the same time, but mostly, I think it comes from my entrance, because my entrance is really, really hardcore, fast-paced. I'm coming out to baby metal for all intents and purposes. And when they hear that music, they don't know what to expect. And I'm coming out with my jacket and my mask and different things, and I'm yelling and excited to be there. And people really gravitate to that. They're like, oh, well, we don't know what to expect from this guy. This guy's just going crazy for no reason. So we don't know what we're gonna get when we see him. And people really get into that.
Yeah, I mean, hyping up the crowd is always going to work for your benefit.
Exactly. But I mean, I feel like a lot of people, there's a difference between hyping up the crowd and just being like, yeah, come on, let's go. Because people can see right through that. If you don't believe in it, then people aren't going to believe in it. But if you're coming out there and you're just being crazy and wild and just being excited and showing that you're happy to be there and that you're ready to go to war with somebody, people are going to get into that. People are going to get behind you immediately.
Right, and then backing that up with a good performance is just going to solidify that. So next time they see you, they're like, oh, this guy brings it.
Exactly. It's all a method to the madness.
So here's my question with that said is, how do you translate that chaotic nature, that fast-paced entrance, into an intriguing storyline for the fans to get behind?
Being the small guy, I mean, I'm always going to be the underdog. Even facing fellow cruiserweights, I'm still one of the smaller cruiserweights, weight-wise. So it's like I have to tell this story of, yes, I'm still a rookie and I'm still learning, but here's what I bring to the table. Here's how I'm going to use the little bit that I do know to counteract whoever I'm facing and hopefully get the big W.
So now obviously wrestling is not something for everybody and there's difficult times. How do you deal with the difficult times in wrestling?
I think that's where just life training comes into play, where you just have to understand that, look, it sucks right now and something may not be going right, or you may feel like you're getting held back, but you're just going to grind through it. And if you really want to succeed, in due time, things will change if you just keep grinding at it.
I mean, can you give us an example of something that happened to you? Something like your career where you had to grind through it to get through that tough time?
Yeah, I'm pretty open about the situation. I'd say probably my last couple months in Alaska, I felt like there was only one promotion there, obviously, and I felt like the promotion was holding me back. I felt like I wasn't gonna. I was getting over with the fans. I was having really good matches that the people were talking about, but I felt like the promotion wasn't going to get behind me, so I decided to travel. Oh, excuse me. after that, I got a little bit of traction from deciding to travel without consulting anybody really about it. I felt like the promotion even got less behind me after I started traveling instead of promoting me like they should have. I started openly speaking out about it, and that didn't help my case, unfortunately. But I just grinded through because once I realized that, look, I'm almost out of here. I can do what I can for the promotion, but if the promotion isn't backing me, then it's not going to matter at the end of the day. So I just had to wait it out and do the right thing until it was time for me to leave. And obviously, so far, that move has probably been the best thing that could have happened to me right now in a wrestling sense.
Sometimes that's what you have to do. Sometimes you just have to break away and do what's best for you.
Exactly. And I'm still friends with a lot of the guys there. There's talk to me possibly, like I just wrestled for a smaller operation out there this past weekend. And there's talk to me going back to the main promotion up there sometime in the summer next year, but we'll just have to see how things play out. I'm busy doing me. They're doing their thing up there, and all love to them. Wish them the best, but it's more about me now and not so much about the promotion as a whole.
Right, which at the end of the day, it is a business for both you and them. You are a brand as much as they are.
I think the biggest thing for me was I spent a lot of time focusing on what do I have to do to make the promotion better, and now I'm focused on what do I have to do to make me better, and that's probably been the best thing that I could have done.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now, I'm wondering how, to get up to Alaska, do you drive from Washington or do you fly?
I fly.
Okay, yeah, you'd have to drive through Canada, so that's got to be. Well, you got to go through the border and everything, and then I don't know, how does that work in Alaska? Do you go through another border to get into Alaska?
Yeah, so if I was to drive to Alaska, I would have to go through the border around what's it called, Vancouver, and then you go through the border again, coming out of the Yucatan, or whatever the heck it's called, the Yukon. Excuse me, thinking different stuff.
Panama.
But yeah, you'll drive through another border coming out of the Yukon, and then you drive a good bit to Alaska to get back to Anchorage or wherever you're trying to go.
And that's just mountains and wilderness you're driving through?
Pretty much. I know people that have made the drive. I wouldn't.
I imagine there's some nice scenic views.
Yeah, I guess if you're okay with fearing for your life.
Well, it can't be any harder than the Oregon Trail.
It is the Oregon Trail.
I don't even know, man.
Now, one thing I'm curious about, too, though, is with your military background, do you think that's prepared you more for professional wrestling?
I don't think it's played a role in it, honestly. Two different animals, and I don't think pro wrestling and the military has played any role with each other.
So not even getting you in better shape or anything like that?
No, not even, honestly, not even that, because it's two different types of getting in shape and they don't play well together. So it's still hard for me to try to make them both work together.
Right. Now, we've kind of touched on, the difficult times, the struggles. What have been some of the most rewarding things for you in your short career as a wrestler?
Probably one of the most rewarding things, about 2 weeks ago, actually, WCWC down here in I believe they're based out of Salem or Portland, one of the two, Oregon. But they did a food drive, and we had a 24-hour wrestle-thon. I got to wrestle on that 6 times, and out of 6 matches, I'd probably say I had 5 of my best matches, and 1 match that I didn't think was too bad. It wasn't the best match, but it wasn't too bad. I think it, like everything, you can always improve, but it was a great learning experience with two well-rounded opponents.
Let me take a sip of water. Okay, hold on.
Yes, sir.
Big question coming up here, man. Get ready for it.
This is Dan Rather's style. Are you ready? This is a barn burner. I'm going Stephen A.
Barn burn. What? You have metaphors too, man.
What's wrong with barn burner?
It's the context is completely off base.
It doesn't matter.
Totally wrong. Okay, I got you.
Look, I'm the host.
That's like saying, oh, that guy just scored a home run while you're watching football.
No, it's not. It's a barn burner.
It's pretty close.
No. All right, I'm calling them. No. All right.
Let's barn the barn then.
We're cutting this out.
Because it makes you
No,
look
we're not.
so
That's
good.
a mistake.
Oh, it's getting cut.
You can't just alter reality like that.
I can. It's called post-editing. All right, but on a serious note.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
All kidding aside, but do you have any desire to have any kind of lasting impact on wrestling, and what would it be?
I really hope that my lasting impact was just that I have really good matches and that people respect what I do, and people just people respect what I do, and not necessarily you have to like it or dislike it because different strokes for different folks. But I just want people to respect what I do.
It takes different strokes. Different strokes. That's
Pretty much.
That's 2 episodes in a row now, so it's
well, I mean, that's like we've been using different. You've been saying that for a few episodes.
But I think it's come out organically on the last 2, at least that I can recall.
Well, because we always talk about how there's something for everybody in
Right.
today's wrestling world.
Right.
I just think
Which is funny because that kind of swayed me into a story. See, segue, it worked.
There we go.
ouch.
So, last week in Alaska when I was at this show, at this production, as for lack of a better term, there's boxing, there's mixed martial arts, and there's pro wrestling, all on one card.
Okay.
Cool, fine
That
and
sounds
dandy.
interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's pretty awesome though when you get to wrestle in front of 700 people.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
definitely gives you exposure.
So the pro wrestlers are obviously the outcasts, but whatever. We get on the show, we do our thing, and usually I don't have an issue with the crowd. The crowd generally like. We went out, we did our match. I was in the ring I just lost my last Frontier title, so I'm a little upset at this point. But I'm getting ready to cut a promo, and some drunk fan decides to be like, oh, as I'm cutting my promo, he just blurts out, oh, you still suck. For whatever reason, that set me off completely. And Peter Avalon from California is actually in the ring at the same time, was helping me get out of the ring because I was a little banged up. So I'm on the mic, and I just lose it, and I'm yelling at this guy on the mic, look, I may suck, but you're not in this ring fighting. If you ever feeling froggy, come on and jump. And I open up the ropes for him to get in there. So at this point, he's yelling, his girlfriend or lady friend's yelling, and they're just talking trash. So, and then he makes an obscene gesture at me. Cool, that's fine and dandy. I see you make this a gesture at me, so I yell on the mic, as far as I'm concerned, you can suck it, beep, and then drop the mic. So Peter Avalon's in the ring. He's trying not to lose it. I'm trying not to lose it because I'm like, the fans are losing their minds. So I'm just like, oh, this is awesome. And I'm trying not to lose it. But at the same time, I'm probably concussed at this point, and I'm trying to get out of the ring and walk to the back, but I'm falling over, and I'm just like, yes, wrestling.
We're going to take a quick break here from the questions, and we're going to give you another keyword for December's contest to win an 8x10 autograph photograph of Cody Rhodes. And Phoenix Kid here is going to go ahead and give us that keyword at this time.
Segue.
Oh, I knew you were going to do it. I knew you were going to do it. Thank you so much for that one. I hope you and Tech wrestle. It'll be the first time I root for him.
I'm going to yell segue the entire match.
I would love to see
Can
that.
you come up with a move called the Segway?
Oh, that's game on. That's going to happen.
Oh, yeah, you need to have like a signature move that's called the Segway. I would appreciate that so much. You can
I'm
even
just saying, I'll be on by the time this episode plays, I'll probably, it'll already have happened, but I'll be on iPay-per-view this Sunday for BCW, and I will make sure you out segue.
All right.
All right.
All right. Definitely let us know how we could see that, because I want to see that now.
The Fight app, of course.
The Fight app? All right. Cool.
A cheap plug, sorry.
No
BCW,
worries.
You got a cheap plug.
That's what it's for.
That's what our show is.
That's the
just
whole platform.
a cheap plug for whoever's on it.
Right.
It's not even cheap. It's free,
did-
which makes it better.
It's even cheaper than cheap. It's you
Right.
get to plug yourself.
Free advertisement.
Do-do-do-do.
Right.
Go plug yourself.
All right, so
All right. Wow. That was good.
Wow.
I
Oh,
was
boy.
choked on the carrot.
all right. So where do you want to see yourself in the next 5 years?
I haven't thought 5 years ahead. I'm only thinking about a year at a time, honestly. If I had to say 5 years from now, I'd like to see myself having a steady gig in Japan or Mexico, or just making enough money on the independents to where I don't have to do anything else besides wrestling.
Okay, now since you are more, year to year kind of guy, what do you have planned for 2018, or what are some of the goals as we're heading into 2018 that you'd like to accomplish?
Some of the goals I want to accomplish in 2018, I'd like to win some more gold. Obviously, if you're not in it to win gold, you shouldn't be in the business. I'd like to compete in my first death match. That is a huge top of the list goal for me, and we're trying to make it happen. But the things and timing aren't lining up very well. I just want to see more places. I don't want to be the guy that just hangs around Oregon and Washington and be a quote unquote local star. I want to be the guy that's going back to Las Vegas and getting into California and getting into Arizona and different places like that. I just want to keep moving along.
I can't complain with that. You experience as much as you can. There's a lot of different styles of wrestling out there. Depending on where you go, even in this country, you don't even have to leave. Go to Japan or Mexico,
Exactly.
but there's a plethora of knowledge out there from all the different styles, and you would be foolish not to try to take advantage of all of those and learn as much as you can and incorporate it somehow.
Exactly.
Makes you more marketable.
Obviously, you got to go hit up the Arizona scene with a name like Phoenix Kid. Get a lot of popularity around there.
You would hope until they figure out that I'm not from Phoenix and I've never been to Phoenix in my entire life, and it has nothing to do with the city of Phoenix.
But to be fair, is anybody really from Phoenix that still lives there? Don't people just go there and then realize, oh, this was a horrible life decision?
That's Alaska.
We here at the Gimmick Table do not harbor any ill wills about Phoenix, Arizona.
I'm just saying it gets up to 135 degrees there.
That's not the highest temp I've ever been in, so I can't even complain.
Oh,
Fair enough. And who are some of your dream matches?
Segue.
Right now.
No segue.
Yes. Terrible segue. Number 5. Some of my dream matches. Good question. I just lost my train of thought. I really want to mix it up with Jeff Cannonball. Another guy that I really want to mix up with is G Raver. Two guys I've mentioned have been big influence into my the early stages of my career, so it would kind of be like a teacher versus student thing for me. Another big match that I really want is Jonathan Gresham. Another small guy, very technical, and I'd really like to test myself against him. Those are the big 3 that come to mind right off the top of my head. I'm sure there's more, but I just can't think of them right now.
All right. Sorry you guys didn't like my segue there. I apologize.
Your complete lack of one.
We got off on a tangent, and I just wanted to know who he wanted to, who his dream matches are. It's been
Just a thought that popped up in the middle of...
It was right next here, question 22, dream matches.
And just so you know, the key word this week is segue.
All right, so now how can our listeners get a hold of you? How can they segue to you on social media?
If you want to segue to me on social media, you can look up my Facebook at Phoenix Kid. That's Kid with 2 Ds. I'm probably the only one on there, so I'll be pretty easy to find. Or you can find my Twitter at Phoenix Kid TFR. Yeah, those are the 2 big ways to get a hold of me. And the Instagram with the same name, Phoenix Kid TFR. Other than that, yeah, that's how you're gonna find me. I don't give out my Snapchat or anything like that, so that's weird.
All right.
Fair enough.
So, hey, no arguments there. The Gimmick Table is not on Snapchat. We haven't made the jump yet.
Don't do it. It's not worth it.
We just got a Tumblr page, and that's only because our podcasting hosting page automatically uploads our post. So I don't actually have to ever use it. It's just there in case anybody uses it and wants to find it.
I'm sure 5 people that listen to this show use it. I'm not one of them.
Yeah. I worry if they're using Tumblr to find us, because why are they on Tumblr and what else are they looking at?
The world may never know.
The world does not want to know.
Not at all.
But we do want to know when we can see you in the ring again.
So I'm taking like a 2-week break to go home to Texas to see my family for the first time in 3 years. I'm not even bringing wrestling gear, so you won't see me again until I don't even know if I'm supposed to say this one, but I'll say it anyway. December 30th in Seattle. I'll be wrestling and making my debut for Project 42. After that, going into the new year, I haven't locked in everything yet, so I can't really announce those until probably after I get home from leave. So right now, as of the end of this year, Project 42 is going to be my last show, and then 2018 I will start releasing those dates as they become locked in and crystal and set stuff.
Awesome, and keep us in the loop with those dates, and we'll definitely help retweet anything for you on Twitter, so we can help get you out there and hopefully get you some more exposure any way that we can.
Definitely, and I've been slow. Just gonna throw this out there. I've been slowing down on the merch thing right now to focus on wrestling and being a better wrestler. But 2018, look out for merch. I'm in the developmental stages of some really cool stuff that I'm working on. So but soon enough we'll be able to release some information and give the fans a better idea. I don't like leaving cliffhangers, but that's where we're at right now.
Well, sometimes you gotta end on a cliffhanger to keep people coming back.
Definitely, and there's gonna be some cool stuff. There's some cool ideas out there that people aren't doing right now. So hopefully we can get out there and make some cool things happen.
Awesome. Look forward to seeing that. Now, I don't know if you've ever listened to the show before, but this is the part where we unhinge the gimmick table and Bats puts his creative mind to work for 15 minutes out of the entire week and will wow you with some amazingness, and apparently he's got a good one this week.
Well,
okay, let's do it.
I'm gonna start off by saying congratulations on actually doing a proper segue for the first time tonight.
Woo!
I did a couple at the end there. I got better. The more you point it out, the more I pay attention to it.
Well, let's learn on the fly. So this is gonna air on Monday, which I believe is the 6th day of Hanukkah. So as a non-denominational holiday celebrating podcast, the Gimmick Table is.
Just so you know, I made him throw that in there because I don't want any controversy on the show.
Well, I figure
Yeah.
we're gonna do a Christmas unhinged for next week's episode. So we'll do a Hanukkah one for this week's episode. I'm not Jewish. You're not Jewish. I don't know if you're Jewish.
I'm absolutely not Jewish.
All right, so this will be fun either way.
But are we gonna get some flack from for not doing a Kwanzaa episode?
I mean, we can do a Kwanzaa one. I mean, I don't know anything about it.
I don't know when it is either. So, I mean, if we're airing an episode during Kwanzaa, sure, why not? But we're going to focus on Hanukkah tonight. And I got this list of what the 8 nights mean from like jewishwomensmagazine.com. So, I don't know if this is like actually what the nights mean, but this is going to be, this will be good.
We're gonna lose all our listeners.
Free plug for Jewish Women's Magazine. I don't know if that's even the site, but all right.
Wait, is that not even the name
Of the site? I don't know.
You just made that up?
Hold on, it's on my phone.
Like, you can't just be making up names like that, dude.
It's thejewishwoman.org.
We just blew it. This is the episode.
Well,
Close enough. I'll give them that.
Yeah, it was pretty accurate. Anyways, night number 1 is all about the darkness. So, who would you say represents the gothic wrestler?
The Phoenix Kid.
You just get You can't give yourself as the answer for every single one.
Oh, you call on to my gimmick.
You can't use yourself. These are people around you. And it doesn't have to be goth. I don't know why you went goth with darkness.
Well,
you can interpret darkness in any way that you want.
Wow, like the dark attitude.
I don't know anybody that represents that. There's a cat in BCW called Darkness. I don't really know him like that, but his name's Darkness, so I guess.
All right.
Literal sense of the term. Okay.
All right, so night number 2 is all about ascension, and the website says like the stairway. So, who do you want to throw down a set of stairs?
Who do you want to throw down a set of stairs?
Who do I want to throw down a set of stairs? I can't believe I'm about to give this person publicity, but there's this wrestler, Julie Winters in Alaska. I would throw her down a set of stairs.
Okay. Wait, she wrestles in Alaska and her name's Julie Winters? That's a good gimmick.
Yeah, the ironic twist.
Yeah.
I'm the real crown jewel of Alaska. Just throwing that out there.
You're the Ice King?
I am the Ice King. Nobody should be calling themselves the crown jewel of Alaska but me. I'm the Ascension.
We'll just say for for all intents and purposes that you represent all of these individually yourself anyway. So
Yes, I do.
okay.
I really love how you're throwing a wrench into his game tonight. I'm enjoying this completely.
All right, night number 3 is all about decisions. So it's about being in like the hallway with all the doors of opportunity. So who do you want to put through a door?
Who do I want to put through a door? G-Raver, you're going through a door. You've done doors matches before. I wouldn't mind putting him through a door.
All right. And night number 4 is all about senses. So let's mix. Who do you think has the best like sixth sense in the ring, like the most awareness?
Best ring awareness.
Besides
the Phoenix King.
Probably the best ring awareness I've seen in quite some time.
No.
Always getting his foot on the rope.
Oh man, he's more than that. He can spot openings from a mile away.
And that's not something you can teach.
Oh no, definitely not.
All right. So number 5, I'm just gonna say this represents you completely already, because it's about defiance and being a rebel.
Yes.
And ruining his game, which I love.
I mean, even his attempt at ruining my game didn't really work. So it just changed up the game on him.
I know. I'm understanding your whole gimmick now.
It's great. I love it.
You must frustrate all of your opponents to no end.
Sometimes you know it happens.
Number 6 is about rebirth. So this is the night that, or this is the day we're releasing on the 6th day. So who do you think is the most up and coming wrestler
Besides the Phoenix.
the Phoenix Kid?
We've got to put the clause in the question.
That's a hard one, just for the simple fact that I'm like the least experienced guy that I'm usually around. It's not that I'm around myself, but you get it. I'm usually the least experienced guy in the room, so it's kind of hard to be like, oh, well, this guy is up and coming, or this guy is up and coming, because they're probably already where they want to be, or they're probably where they're at their apex at the point that I reach them. So it's really hard to say at this point.
Well, I guess maybe who are you looking at your career and you're like, I want to emulate the way he's going?
Oh,
The Phoenix Kid.
if I had to take a stab at it. Sammy Callahan is a guy that I really look at and I'm like, this guy has all the answers and I need to be following his path.
All right. Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
I mean, if you're going for defiance there, you can't get any better than Sammy Callahan.
Exactly.
All right. Night number 7 is all about celebrating.
Wait, all brow? What's a
All
brow?
brow.
All brow? Is that like some kind of weird Brussels sprout?
I'll just hop in all about, y'all. I don't know.
I'm gonna have some taters and a brow.
It's a single Brussels sprout. It's just a brow.
Hey, brow.
Yes.
I just
A
want
brow.
one brow, please. It's all brow, one brow.
Yes.
All right, take number 3. So the 7th night of Hanukkah is all about celebrating the miracle. So it's like, putting the lights in your window and advertising that, I'm celebrating Hanukkah. So who would you say cuts the best promos?
Phoenix Kid.
Oh, that's easy. YT Jones, my manager, cut the best promos. Like, if he could cut all my promos for me, I will let him cut all my promos for me. And I never say anything.
Can you do an impression of him?
I absolutely cannot. Go watch a Cat Williams video, and you will hear YT Jones.
All right, and the 8th night of Hanukkah is all about transcendence. So who do you look at as the most legendary wrestler?
Ooh, that's a tricky one. So many choices. I can't just pick one on that one.
Do it.
Like that's too hard to pick
Who
one.
do you think has most recently become a living legend?
Not even so much like this is how I would do it, because I know exactly what you mean. Somebody asks you who's the greatest wrestler of all time, and it's basically a loaded question because there's 1,000 different answers.
I'm not saying the greatest of all time. I'm saying who has the impression in your mind is like, oh, he has the most legendary matches.
Right, but that's still pretty much coming down to the same thing. If you're having the most legendary matches, you're probably the greatest wrestler of all time. Like, they probably go hand in hand with one another, wouldn't you say?
No, because
I would
like
agree.
multiple people could have the most legendary.
So let's
matches.
put it this way: who personally is for you would be like that person that you connect with that gives you that feeling?
Right.
So what doesn't matter what anybody else says because it's how it makes.
Right.
You
It's who
feel.
you think is the most legendary, just in your mind, who represents wrestling to you.
Which would be the Phoenix Kid, I'm
Okay.
assuming.
Okay. No. Okay. So I think I know how to answer this question where I can answer, where I can cover all 3 points in a fair way. Probably the most legendary wrestler to me would be Shawn Michaels. Obviously, that's a given. The persons, and I say persons, that really represent wrestling to me would be Daniel Bryan and Low Ki. I think that answered both questions at the same time.
No, that's
perfect.
Perfect. That's what I was looking for. Like, these guys, when you think of wrestling, these are who you think of.
Exactly.
All right. Can't argue with that. Now, I do have one more thing for you, because that was the 8th and final day of Hanukkah, wasn't
That was
it?
the last gift.
Man, I like Christmas so much better one day. Less time.
Get it all
Less
right.
times I got to see my family.
Right.
You know? 8 presents? Are you kidding me? Now, you said we did kind of talk about promos earlier, and you kind of talked about yours and text banter back and forth on Twitter. Do you have any words for our dear friend Tectonic? His thumb's a little better now. He's going to be back in the ring soon, it looks like. So maybe we can get that Phoenix Kid Tectonic matchup, and you can tell us how one of those lariats are. He says they're pretty strong, but I don't think they can be that strong.
I've heard stories about those lariats, and I'm trying to avoid that altogether. So, but I don't really know what to say. That hasn't already been said. We're bound to cross paths now that I'm here. So I mean, it's only a matter of time. Either he's with me or he's against me, and he'd be a great ally to have to win some tag gold with. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind showing him how to do a real German suplex.
Ooh.
Well, sometimes the best friendships are brewed out of a big old brawl.
Pretty much.
All right. Now, if he goes against you, he's not going to be. It's over for him.
I mean, there's always that chance of that we can still make a great tag team. Just he has to understand who the boss is.
Right. And that's you.
That's me.
All right. So, Tech, we look forward to hearing your response.
I feel like you don't do very well in job interviews.
Let's just say wrestling has got me into some weird positions in the Army. Some of them being really good positions, some of them really bad, because I cut up promos on people.
Just like in everyday life.
Oh, easily. I do it without them knowing I'm doing it. It's the best part.
Got to drive through a Starbucks. What's your name, sir? Well, let me tell you what my name is.
If that latte.
Segue into one last story for the show. So how I ended up getting my job with these high-ranking people in the Army was basically I got voluntold to do an interview for these people. Great. One of the questions was, what is my hobbies? What do I do on the weekends? And in the Army, everybody just assumes you just drink on the weekends. Well, I don't drink. So I was like, I just said wrestling. They're like, what do you mean wrestling? I'm like, well, I'm a pro wrestler. They're just kind of giving me the look. Then the boss kind of looks for a 10-minute interview turned into almost an hour interview, really, because he's sitting there online looking for my interviews and my promos and matches and stuff. And I hadn't had much up at that point. So as the interview's going on, I kind of just start cutting random tidbits of promos on these people and why I think I should get the job, and they didn't even realize I was doing it, and they thought it was the greatest thing ever, and needless to say, I got the job.
Nice.
See, sometimes it works for you. Sometimes wrestling and the real world do not mix. So luckily in this situation, it did work out for you.
Yes, best year of my life.
I bet if you walked into work and, started handing out Stone Cold Stunners to everybody in your company, I don't think you're going to get the same reaction you did with that.
Oh, no, not anymore. If I did my old job, they wouldn't care. They would just be like, yeah, doing that. He's being Phoenix Kid right now, yeah.
But not so much at the new place.
No. Oh, no, they'd be like, what in the hell are you doing, kid?
Well, maybe one of these days
No pun intended.
you'll just have to get the mask out and just start running through the barracks, and introduce the entire company to the Phoenix Kid.
That might actually happen.
He'd start hitting him with some segues.
Every day's a segue.
Every day's a segue. I think I found the name for this episode.
And on that note, if you want to win this Cody Rhodes signed autograph, the keyword tonight is segue.
So segue your way over to the gimmicktablepod.com to learn how to enter.
Yes, it worked. He finally got one.
I got a couple tonight right at the end. I brought it all together. It was like the late rounds. I came back and won. It's still better than saying a brut.
A brow.
You never know. A Phoenix Kid T-shirt might end up with that Cody Rhodes picture.
Ooh, so people, you never know.
You never know.
Never know. Anything can happen on the gimmick table. Bats might get through a whole sentence without mumbling.
Yes, you can. Yes.
It could happen.
Just yes.
Just yeah.
It could happen.
Anything could happen.
You could go through a table right now.
This table's pretty hard, and you're not that strong.
Well,
Yeah. Can you
I'll make
get
it happen.
a T-shirt with a Cody Rhodes picture? I may enter this contest myself.
Do it. You can head on over to. You're technically not a family member or an affiliate of the show, so you are allowed to enter, sir.
Well, I mean, once the show airs Monday, I'm an affiliate of the show now, so I mean,
You're a guest. You get a special category.
I don't think that.
Is that?
Yeah, I don't think he's allowed to.
That's not kosher.
I don't know.
We'll have to look into that.
that's not really kosher, man.
Oh.
I'm kind of an affiliate now.
It's definitely frowned upon.
It's frowned upon.
Like if he won, I'm sure our fans would be like, "What the fuck?"
And I can't really give my shirt to myself, so that wouldn't be cool.
True. Very true.
I don't know. We'll figure something
Let
out.
the fans vote. Let the fans vote if I can enter or not.
Let the fans vote. We'll let the fans vote.
I'm
fun.
not entering, so I don't care.
You're not allowed to enter.
Yeah.
If you tried to enter, I would delete your entry
Delete
all day. Go ahead, try me.
all day.
I'll block you from the website. I know how to do that now. I'll ban your IP.
You can't block him from the website. He has to fix the website.
No, I do that. He doesn't do anything with the website.
Oh,
Well, I tried to help you out, man.
gonna be pretty tough for you to get my covers on there if I don't give them to you.
Well, that's just, you're putting our guest at a disadvantage with your fancy artwork. Without your fancy artwork.
Yes.
All right.
All right, well, that's all the questions we have for today. Thank you, Phoenix Kid, for joining us today here on the Gimmick Table. We appreciate your time, and we'll have to have you back in the future to catch up with things. Maybe maybe before you and Tech do square up or team up, we'll have you on together
Yeah, that would be fun.
and catch up with the both of you. And we hope you have a good night, and thank you once again for joining us on the show.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
Anytime, man.
Later on.
Have a good one. All right, everybody, thank you once again for listening to us today here on the Gimmick Table, and thank you to the Phoenix Kid for joining us. It was a really fun interview, learning especially about what wrestling's like in Alaska, kind of what the hoops are you got to jump through just to also be in the military and be a professional wrestler at the same time. So that's definitely a cool story.
Right? Like if you're in the United States and you think your wrestling is small town,
And guys, if you like the show, make sure you subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Make sure you head on over to gimmicktablepod.com. You can get all our episodes there, as well as become one of our Patreons. And we got some merchandise available as well. You can interact with us on Twitter at gimmick_table. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Just search Gimmick Table Wrestling Podcast. And make sure that after this episode's over, you do head over to our website, enter the keyword, and get entered for a chance to win an autographed 8x10 photograph of Cody Rhodes. And keep listening, because each month we're going to have new contests for you. Because we really appreciate all the great support we've had here through, what are we going on now, for almost 5 months?
it's a solid 4 months we've had.
We're about 4.5 months in, so we're really appreciative
We're getting on 5.
of all the support we've had. We definitely want to give something back for all of you listening, because we definitely appreciate it. And we also appreciate all our friends out there. We got some good friends. I want to start off with first, but not foremost, with the Wrestling Nerds Alliance. They can be found on Twitter at WNA Podcast, Facebook, Wrestling Nerds Alliance, and you can listen to them on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Podbean. And actually, I do want to make a quick correction, because I believe they now go just by WNA Podcast, because I know they've kind of expanded their scope of topics beyond wrestling, which good for them, kind of, building their audience and growing their demographic. And they're funny dudes, and they can definitely go on more about wrestling.
Great synopsis of
yeah.
the WNA podcast,
Yeah,
man.
whatever, I give up.
And that brings us to Wretched Wrestling. Now, these guys are great. They used to be the former kings of Periscope. But
Queens of Periscope, Kings
now,
of Periscope.
now they're just the princes of Periscope. They've been
Princesses.
kind of dethroned. They're not really.
Deflowered.
They're just on Periscope. Check them out if you like.
Really,
looking.
it's just Craig gets mad because Fred is so drunk, and I feel bad for Craig.
I mean, you want to watch just watch two people fight about being drunk. It's a great time.
and argue about wrestling.
No, but
It's
all
great.
in all, they got some good content on there. So check them out for some wrestling updates and a little bit of their commentary on what's going on in the wrestling world. But you can check them out on Twitter at Wretched Wrestle. Facebook is Wretched Wrestling. And you can listen to their podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, and Podbean.
And now we have the real Kings of the Periscope, and they've done a little rebranding. They are now known as Smart Spot Podcast. I just finally got used to saying your name correctly the other way, and you got to go and change it up on me. Thank you. But they can still be found at Smart Spot on Twitter. You can also search them on Facebook at the same name, and you can listen to them on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Periscope, and Podbean.
Also, don't forget to check out Rise More. And you can catch them on Twitter and Facebook by the same name. iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Podbean is where you can find the Rise More podcast.
All right, and we apologize. We're going a little fast, and we don't care about the plugs because it's freezing in my house because we care so much about the quality of the sound. We turn the heat off when it's the coldest day it's been so far. And we have now, last but not least, all the way down under in Australia, the fake Broadcast podcast, because as always, we are the real Broadcast.
And they don't know anything about being cold.
Yeah,
either.
and they don't know anything about being Australian because we're the real Australians. Might. That was terrible. Might. And they can be found on Twitter at the Broadcast. That is with a K because there is no C in the Australian alphabet. Again, repeat, there is no C in the Australian alphabet. Unless it's in the word podcast, because that's an American word. And you can find them on Facebook as well. Just search The Broadcast, and you can listen to them on iTunes. And once again, before hypothermia sets in, we are going to go ahead and call it a night. Thank you once again for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show. And until next week,
see ya.